So, two straightforward wins on day two of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup on ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout. I'm delighted to welcome former Dutch captain Peter Borren on our coverage as we wrap what was a pretty convincing day. First for Ireland against your former teammate Peter, against the Dutch, going down comfortably by 7 wickets, and similar fashion for Sri Lanka against Namibia, too. Two rather one sided contests, unfortunately, today.
Yeah, not the best day for the neutral fan in terms of watching. Having just spent 6 hours of watching that cricket, it wasn't not close games, and obviously as you said, as a former Dutch player, I was a bit disappointing from the Netherlands' perspective.
Let's start with that first game then. Now, was that just one bad period of play where Curtis Campher's run through the heart of that Dutch batting lineup, or did it reflect what you think could be, where Ireland and the Netherlands stand? I know it's only one game. What did you make of that first game today?
Oh no, to be honest with you, I think actually, first of all, the Netherlands won the toss and decided to bat, and it's obviously been a big week or a few weeks in terms of build up to the tournament, and I think they're just a bit nervous. And when you bat first, being a little bit nervous, I think we saw that they weren't really walking out there with an awful lot of confidence, and yeah, obviously in the power play. It didn't go so well for the Netherlands, and they never really put the Irish under pressure. Although the Irish were very good, they weren't put under a lot of pressure.
Could we also learn from that game then, and from what we saw on the first day in Oman, that perhaps bowling first is the way to go in the early parts of the tournaments while teams just try to figure their squads out and get warmed up? I know it's a short period this first round, but could that be the way to go?
It's not so much about conditions. I don't think. I think batting first is always quite nice to do. I think it's more about the fact that if your team's not a little bit nervous about what's going to happen, it's quite nice to get out there and bowl first. Because it gives. It's harder as a batsman. It's much easier to get out there as a fielding team together as a team when you're a bit nervous, and perhaps there was a little bit of that for the Netherlands. And the Irish, as I said, they got to go out there as a team. They would have been nervous too, but I think bowling first sort of suits those nerves and how you go about it there.
All right. Now, Sri Lanka making sure no giant killing today, like we saw between Scotland and Bangladesh last evening. These games come thick and fast in round one of the competition. Is this now likely to be the outcome of this group, Peter, that Sri Lanka and Ireland look the better two teams?
Well, on today's evidence, yes, but these qualifying sort of periods of World Cups or even qualifying tournaments, they can be very, very funny. And we've seen two dominant performances by the two probably favoured teams in this group today.
Yep.
But for me, the Dutch will be better than Namibia will be better. I'm going to say I thought Sri Lanka with the ball today were very, very impressive. I mean, Namibia, they're a team that likes to go hard, but the Sri Lankans, yeah, they from ball one were very impressive. They really put them under pressure. Perhaps the Namibians weren't quite used to the pace. We saw Chimera and Karatna bowling 140 plus.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit of getting used to for the Namibians, but they're a dangerous side. They're going to contribute to this World Cup, as are the Netherlands. So to say that Ireland and Sri Lanka are now necessarily straight through on day one of this group, I think that, I think there will be twists and turns in this group. It might not be on today's evidence, but it will happen in the next two games.
All right, brilliant. Now, I'm sure there'll be some Bangladesh fans that'll be wondering whether there's some twists and turns in store tomorrow. What a result we had on day one with Scotland beating Bangladesh, Peter. You could say now that this is a do or die game against an inform Oman side playing at home. How do you see this going on day three?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Although Oman won obviously by 10 wickets pretty comfortably against Bangladesh yesterday, I think they've got more in the tank. I don't think they actually bowled and fielded all that well. It was more PNG sort of after giving themselves a reasonable platform after the partnership of 80 odd that they had for the third wicket. They sort of threw it away a little bit. Oman were not great in the field. There was a little bit of loose bowling, I'd say, from Oman. I think Bangladesh will have got a wake up call from that game against Scotland, which they They probably should have chased those runs. And I'm expecting to see a far stronger performance tomorrow from Bangladesh, and Oman will have their work cut out. But yes, as you say, do or die game perhaps for the Bangladeshis, but I'm expecting them to step the game up.
Okay, Peter Borren, thank you very much. Let's chat more in a couple of days' time. Hopefully, you'll have more compelling viewing, at least from a neutral point of view, which we didn't get to see on day one of this group. But do join us then on ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout.